Hi there, this is Ranjit, and in this video, let's do the full review for this Asus ROG Phone 2. And the specs on this phone is actually incredible. This is one of the most powerful Android phone as of now. It's big phone. It's sort of a gaming phone, but in this video, I'm going to tell my usage as a normal user. I did some gaming, I'll talk about that, but I used it. I'm a normal business user, so I use the phones normally. So let's have a look at that. But before I divided between the pros and cons, I've made a huge list, as you can see, and I've used this for almost 12 days now. So I'll divide the review between pros and cons. But before that, here are the quick specs for this Asus ROG Phone 2. As you can see, it's having a massive 6.59 inch, that's AMOLED screen. It's protected by Gorilla Glass. It has dual front firing speaker, powered by the new Snapdragon 855 Plus. It comes in 8 or 12 gigabytes of RAM, and other specs are on the screen for your reference. So let's quickly jump between the pros and cons. First, let's talk about the pros and then we'll move to the cons. And as you can see, this is the device itself, and it's a big device. It's having a 6.59 inch screen, so almost a 6.6 inch screen. And the screen quality is actually really good. It's an AMOLED screen that you're getting, full HD plus screen. But the thing is that this is no ordinary screen. This is actually, in normal phones, actually, you have 60 Hertz display. That means the display gets refreshed 60 times. That's normal in almost every Android phone except the OnePlus 7T and the OnePlus 7 Pro that had 90 Hertz. But this one, if you go to display, you can set the refresh rate to 120 Hertz, and I did all my testing while keeping it 120, and you can even go to the normal 60 and 90. So what does this mean? That means that whenever you do any fast scrolling or anything, it is actually very smooth on the phone. So everything feels very fluid. It's very difficult to show it on the like this, because my camera cannot capture at 120 Hertz. But again, it's very smooth. So that's a smooth experience. Another thing is that the touch sensitivity is among the best on this phone. It is having a 240 Hertz touch response. Again, that's the highest in the industry. So again, the touch response is very fast on this one, one of the fastest that I've seen. So in terms of screen quality, I don't have a problem. Even the colors, I was surprised that, because it's sort of a gaming centric phone, the colors will be weird, oversaturated, but that's not the case. The colors actually look natural on this phone, so that's actually a nice thing. And you do have some settings where you can play around with the colors, but personally I didn't have to do that. Also, I like the fact that yes, again, it's a powerful phone. It has all the sensors. We have the auto brightness sensor, and it is calibrated very well. I didn't have to manually tinker around with the same. Now, moving to another small thing is that how is the vibration feedback on a phone? On flagship phones like iPhone or even Pixel 3 XL, the thing that if you have used it any time differentiates is the vibration motors are very good. In fact, the vibration motor on this one is also excellent, one of the best that I've seen on an Android phone. I think so they have put dedicated motors here and here for the vibration. Hence, while you type, etc., it gives you very nice feedback. So again, excellent job that Asus has done. Also, if you notice here, on the left and right, we have actually dedicated front firing speakers, and again in this also, it's among the loudest that I have seen on an Android phone. For example, let's just play back this video. This was the gaming that I did on this one, and let me give you an idea. Let me skip to the gaming area. Okay. And as you can see, I'm just going to keep the volume at half. Even at half volume, it is very loud. And to give you an idea, I'm going to increase the volume on this. Let's continue. Okay, we have one. And as you can see, it's very loud. Okay, let's go. In fact, it has a lot of depth. So I would say in terms of speaker, let me just get out. It is one of the loudest that I have heard, and it is actually also has some depth. Even if you want louder, you can go to this outdoor mode and you get that. And guys, I'm just sorry about this sound. There is some renovation work going on. I waited for about 4-5 hours, but still they're continuing. So just bear with me. I wanted to finish this review because I wanted to test some other device. Already the review was late. So just bear with me. But yeah, in terms of the speakers also, it was very loud. You don't have to worry. One of the loudest, and I generally didn't have to keep the, what do you say, loudness more than about 75%. It gets really, really loud. Also, I like the fact that it still retains a 3.5mm headphone jack, and again, the audio output was very good. And once you plug in a headphone, you also get DTS options, and there you can set the sound signature, like even the sound stage wide, what you want. You can change from rock, etc. But even in the normal mode, without tinkering with that, the output was very good. And even with my heavy headphones, I tested with Audio Technica M40X, they were actually good. So don't have to worry about 3.5mm headphone jack. And I like the fact that it didn't omit it like all other manufacturers are doing on their flagship phones. Now, talking about the performance, again, here also the performance is top notch. It is coming with the fastest Qualcomm processor you can get as of now, that is the Snapdragon 855 Plus, and the variant that I have is having that 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. And in terms of performance, I did not have any issues with this device. Very fluid device, and again, it handles everything. Even though this is the lower end variant that has 8GB of RAM, in terms of performance, I never had a problem, and RAM management is surprisingly good on this device. So again, in that area, you don't have to worry. Now, moving to UI, many of you ask me, again, if you notice, the UI is stock Android. On the left, you have the Google pane, and ASUS just added a few gaming centric apps. For example, they have this Armory. That's it, which helps to configure the 8 triggers and all those things, gaming centric stuff. But apart from that, it is stock Android that you have. And right now it's running on Android, 9, but ASUS is going to put out Android 10 on this device. As you can see, it's running on Android 9. That's Android Pie, but Android 10 is supposed to come out on this one. And the security patch is 5th August. I asked ASUS team about security update. They said that this device will get Android updates, security updates once every 2 months. So again, in general performance also, you don't have a problem. Very fluid device as expected. Snapdragon 855 Plus, no issues in terms of performance. Now let's also talk about how's the cellular connectivity. I tested this one here in Hyderabad with Airtel and Jio, and one day I had to travel to Delhi also for some work. And again, in terms of network connectivity, I did not have a problem. In fact, I would say the network connectivity is much better than average. In this room with Airtel, I'm able to take some calls with this one, which is generally not the case with almost about 80% of the phones I test. And again, even with Jio, I did not have a problem. Some of you have asked me, let me remove the Wi-Fi. Does it have dual VoLTE? Yes, it does have dual VoLTE. Right now, even on my Airtel SIM, I'm getting the VoLTE signal. And of course, on Jio, I am getting the VoLTE signal. So in terms of network reception, no issues. Now let's also talk about the earpiece, which is also very important because most of the calls you take via the earpiece. And I'm happy to say this time the ASUS team did not screw up in terms of the earpiece. The earpiece quality is loud and clear, crystal clear in terms of calls, and also the microphone quality is very good. In fact, it has multiple microphones. So in terms of call quality, I would say excellent. I had no issues. Now also, I completely forgot, let's also talk about the build quality on this. And if you notice this is the RGB. You can disable this. I have just enabled it. For example, when the phone is on, you can enable. When I switch it off, it goes off. So it's completely customizable. And in terms of display, fingerprint, as you can see, it is having this in-display fingerprint scanner, and again, it is working almost all the time. As you can see, it works without any issue. So again, these things, and it also has this always on display option with this. So in-display fingerprint scanner is good, and I really like the build quality of the phone. It feels solid. This is all metallic outer shell casing. It's protected by Gorilla Glass 6. So in terms of build quality, they haven't made any compromises. It feels very, very solid phone, doesn't flex or anything. It feels like a high-end premium smartphone. So in that respect, you don't have to worry. Now moving to another thing, that is the battery on this one. Again, this one is having a 6000 milliamp hour battery. Yes, this is the only flagship I would say that is having the 6000 milliamp hour battery. And in terms of battery life, as expected, first let me talk about as a normal user, non-gamer. If you're sort of a non-gamer, it will easily give you about 1.5 to about 2 days of battery life per charge. And as you can see, these are some of the screenshots that after with my usage, easily about 1 to 1.5 days I'm getting. And in terms of screen on time, can go anywhere about 6.5 to about 8 hours or so. But if you're sort of a gamer, I did play Call of Duty continuously on this for a long time, you can easily get about 5 hours of continuous gaming with this device. Now moving to charging, I like the fact that this smartphone not only supports Qualcomm quick charging. By default in the box you get an 18 watt fast charger, but you can even charge it with a 30 watt fast charger. Apart from that Qualcomm quick charging, I really like the fact that this one also supports power delivery. So this is my MacBook Pro's charger, that is a USB type C, and I'm able to easily charge this device with that. So if you have any power delivery charger, for example laptop chargers that are USB type C, you can easily charge this and it charges really quickly. So in that respect also they have done an excellent job. Now let's also talk about gaming, because again this is sort of a gaming centric smartphone, and I did play PUBG with this at the highest graphics setting. It handled everything. And for gaming they also have these two things left and right. These are known as A triggers, which you can customize, and I did play a lot of Call of Duty, and as you can see I even posted a dedicated video about it. But here as you can see the gameplay performance was very good. Even at the highest graphics setting, it handled everything butter smooth. So in terms of gameplay, I would say a great experience, one of the best gaming experience that I had on a smartphone, thanks to that 8 triggers and also the loud speakers that it has, stereo. It gives you a very immersive feel. So great for gamers. And now let's also talk about the cameras on this one. It has that dual rear facing camera on the back. The regular one is a 48 megapixel Sony IMX586 that we have seen in a lot of smartphones, and next we have a 13 megapixel wide angle lens, and the front facing is a 24. And here are some of the samples, as you can see, from the rear facing camera. Again, the images are not bad. Again, similar stuff that we have seen with smartphones having 48 megapixel, that's the same case even with this one. And I would say the camera is good enough. I like the fact that it still has that wide angle lens, but again some of you have asked me to compare it with this OnePlus 7T, and now I would say if camera is your rear camera, I would say specifically is your highest concern, I would say the OnePlus 7T glows slightly ahead. But again, as you saw, the images that we got from this one were not bad. Now moving to the front facing camera, I was surprised that the front facing camera performance is actually much better than many of the phones that we are seeing in this price range. In fact, it has a 24 megapixel camera, and I have to say the front facing camera performance is surprisingly good. In fact, it did even better than the Asus 6C. So again, cameras are good enough, but I won't say it's among the best. So these were the good things that I liked about the Asus ROG Phone 2. Now let's move to the cons section, and again I have a few. One thing that I've noticed is the screen quality, everything is good, but one thing I noticed, if you even keep the brightness at the very low level, right now we have a lot of light, so it's looking fine, but at night I feel even at the lowest brightness it's actually pretty bright. So that is one thing that I have noticed, and it might bug you if you are a person who uses a smartphone when every light is switched off. Even at the lowest brightness, I felt that the brightness level was a little bit high. That is something that I have noticed. Now moving to another thing is that we have this always on mode on this, and you can customize it. In fact, it has actually 3 different modes. I like it, but as of now you're not getting any notification icons here when you get a notification. So it's just like this. There are other 2 modes in that you get some basic notification like for SMS and for calls, but apart from that you don't get. So I hope they add it. And another thing is that this is always on all throughout the night. They should have given an option, for example, let's say at night when you're just sleeping, etc., let's say from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. they should have given an option of shutting this off. That is not there. I hope they fix it with the software upgrade. Again, one more thing I completely forgot. This is not a con, guys. This is a good thing. This phone has a physical LED notification light, so that is something that I appreciate, that is missing on a lot of smartphones. But again, I thought to mention about this always on display. And now if we talk about the size, certainly this is a big phone. This is the OnePlus 7 Pro, again a big phone, but as you can see almost close to height, but this is even slightly bigger because we have that dedicated space for the speaker. So certainly a big phone, and it took me about 2 days to get used to this. And also, if you look at the paperweight, it is actually pretty heavy, but and it will take you about a day or 2 to get used to it, but the weight balance has been done very well. But again, certainly a big phone and sort of a two-handed device. If you do not like big phones, then I would say stay away from this, because it's already having that almost a 6.7 inch screen. But again, because of that speakers, it feels actually much bigger. So that is something you have to actually note. And also, as I've told you, the regular variant that most of you will buy for 38,000 comes with 8 gigabytes of RAM. That's not a problem. RAM management was fine, but the storage is just 128 gigabytes, and we do not have any micro SD card slot on this one. So that is something you have to be aware. Yes, we do have one more variant that comes with 512 gigabytes of storage. That comes with actually 12 gigabytes of RAM. But personally, I feel the pricing of that one is insane. If I recall, the pricing of that one is almost about 60,000. So the pricing of the 512 gigabyte variant is insane. And I don't know why, but ASUS actually also had one more variant in the international market, 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage. They simply did not launch that one in India. So if you're getting this, you are stuck with that 128 gigabytes of storage. Out of that, you roughly get about 150. So that is something you have to note. And lastly, I would say, yes, this is a gaming centric phone, but I've told you, as I'm not using as a gaming centric phone. But if you're a serious gamer, we also have this port you can remove and add accessories. But those gaming accessories are super expensive. So that is also something you have to note. And lastly, this is about the Android updates. ASUS has said that Android 10 will come. It's still in testing. So yes, I know it will come, and Android updates will be once in 2 months. But I hope ASUS this time concentrates on updates and don't give buggy updates. I like the UI, it's almost stock, so they have done a great job. But again, I hope if they want to compete with OnePlus in the long term, in terms of software updates, they have to be a lot more proactive, because in the past, not with this ROG, but in past some of the phones with ASUS, some of the software updates had added bugs in the device. Yes, they eventually fixed it after a month or so, but I hope this time they are a lot more careful. So to summarize, I would say this is an excellent smartphone. I would say ASUS has done a great job on this one, and the pricing for a change also is very attractive at 38,000. But I just hope like they have enough stocks, because the first sale what they had, it got sold out in just 2 seconds. Anyways, what do you guys think about this ROG Phone 2? Do let me know in the comment section. Certainly, I would say I was impressed with this device. Initially, when I got it, I would say, trust me guys, I felt just looking at the specs, it might be too big or too heavy. But once I started using it, and after a day or two I got used to it, I started really liking this phone. Anyways guys, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video. Take care guys.